Every year, millions of people walk out of car dealerships convinced they won. They got the price down, they stood their ground, they did their homework. And almost every single one of them got played. Not because they were naive, not because they weren't smart enough, but because the game they thought they were playing wasn't the real game. Let me show you what's actually happening. Act 1. Meet Marcus. Marcus is the kind of guy who doesn't make impulsive decisions. Before buying anything significant, he researches it to death. So when it came time to buy a new car, he spent 3 weeks preparing. He knew the exact model he wanted. He knew what the manufacturer charged the dealer for it, the invoice price. He even knew which negotiation tactics dealerships use to throw buyers off. He walked in ready. The car's window sticker read $31,500. The invoice price he'd found online was $29,400. After about 45 minutes of back and forth, Marcus got the dealership down to $29,500, $100 over invoice. The salesperson leaned back in his chair and said, "Honestly, I'm going to get in trouble with my manager for this one." Marcus smiled, shook his hand, and felt that specific kind of satisfaction, the kind where you feel like you beat the system. He hadn't even found the system yet. Act 2, the iceberg. Marcus saw his negotiation like an iceberg tip. Clean, visible, concrete. What he didn't see was everything underwater. Car dealerships don't make money the way most people think. That sticker price negotiation? That's a performance. It's designed to feel like the whole show, while the actual revenue machine runs quietly in the background. Here's what's hidden beneath every single car deal. Holdback. After the sale is completely done, the manufacturer sends a separate check back to the dealership, typically 2 to 3% of the sticker price. On Marcus's car, that's anywhere from $630 to $945. The deal the salesperson called a loss, the manufacturer just handed them nearly $1,000 they never mentioned. Manufacturer to dealer incentives. When a car sits on the lot too long, manufacturers quietly pay dealerships to move that specific vehicle. You'll never see it on any document. Volume bonuses. Dealerships hit targets, sell enough cars in a quarter, and the manufacturer sends a bonus check worth tens of thousands. This is why salespeople suddenly get generous near the end of the month. They're chasing a number that has nothing to do with you. Regional incentives. Certain markets get extra financial support from manufacturers based on local sales performance. None of this is visible to you. Floor plan financing support. Dealerships borrow money to stock their inventory. Manufacturers often subsidize that interest cost, meaning the dealer's real cost is already lower than the invoice price you researched. Act 3. The back room. Picture this. Price is agreed, hands are shaken. The salesperson says, "Let me walk you back to get the paperwork sorted." And every buyer in the history of car buying exhales at this moment. The hard part's done. Now it's just signing. That exhale is worth thousands of dollars to the dealership. The room you're walked into, the finance office, is the single most profitable space in the entire building. The person sitting across from you isn't processing paperwork. They are a closer, a specialist, often the highest compensated person on that lot. Because some dealership groups are publicly traded, they file detailed earnings reports, and those reports reveal the average front-end profit on a new car is around $3,200. The finance office generates another $2,000 to $2,800 per vehicle on top of that. Interest rate markup, the dealership marks up your approved rate. That gap averages $600 to $800 per car in pure profit. Extended warranties, profit margin $700 to $1,000, and fully negotiable. Gap insurance, $250 to $400 markup. You can buy it cheaper through your insurer. Add-on packages, small individually, but they stack. Documentation fees, $700 to $800 in profit from paperwork alone. By the time Marcus signed everything, the dealership had made far more than the $100 gross profit Marcus thought he'd left them with. Act 4. The cash mistake. Marcus's coworker, Priya, heard about the new car, loved the model, and headed to the same dealership 2 weeks later. Same car, same trim, same month. Priya had the full amount saved and ready. She walked in confident and said the 5 words she thought gave her all the power. "I'm paying cash, best price." Here's what the dealership heard. "I am personally removing $2,000 to $2,800 of profit from this transaction before we even begin." No interest markup, no warranty upsell, no gap product. The entire finance office revenue stream, gone. So the dealership did exactly what any business would do. They protected their margin on the front end. They held firm on price. They gave her less room to negotiate. Priya paid $2,300 more than Marcus for the exact same car. At a dealership, your financing isn't a cost to them. It is the product. When you remove it, you're not simplifying the deal. You're handing them a reason to charge you more. Act 5. The filters they use. Some people's instinct is, okay, I just won't tell them I'm paying cash. Smart instinct. But the dealership has already thought about this. The intake form. They hand you a sheet asking how you plan to purchase. Cash, finance, undecided. Feels routine. It's the first filter. The credit conversation. Midway through, they mention running a quick credit check. They're not checking creditworthiness. They're confirming you're still on the financing path. The pre-filled application. By the time you reach the finance office, your loan application is already partially filled out. You've been categorized without realizing it. So what do you do with all of this? You use it. Step 1. Walk in as a financing buyer. Never mention cash. This puts you in the high value category and gives you maximum negotiating leverage on price. Step 2. At the intake form, ask one specific question. Is there a loan origination fee? This signals you're a savvy financing customer. What you're actually doing is checking for a fee you'd lose by paying off early. Step 3. Negotiate the purchase price hard. Because the dealership expects to recover margin in the finance office, they'll flex more on the front end. Use that expectation as leverage. Step 4. In the finance office, negotiate everything. The extended warranty? Negotiable. Gap insurance? Negotiable. Protection packages? Negotiable. These are starting points, not fixed prices. Step 5. Read the loan contract before signing. Specifically look for one thing, a prepayment penalty clause. Step 6. Sign the loan, drive home, pay it off next week. You financed the car technically, got the pricing that comes with being a financing buyer, and paid negligible interest before closing the loan. No origination fee plus no prepayment penalty, you used their system against itself. Most people think the car dealership battle happens on the sales floor. The tension, the back and forth, the manager walk back, that feels like the fight. It's not. That's the opening act. The real transaction happens in the quiet office in the back, with a professional closer in front of a buyer whose guard is completely down. Marcus negotiated well on the surface and handed most of it back without realizing it. Priya brought cash thinking it was an advantage and paid thousands more for removing the dealership's most valuable revenue stream. Now you know what neither of them did waking in. The layers, the numbers, and exactly how to use all of it. And that's the part most buyers never see. The dealership was never just selling a car. It was selling financing, add-ons, and psychology wrapped inside a transaction designed to feel simple. Once you understand where the real money is made, the entire experience starts looking different. I'm Annie, and this is Annie Invests, where we break down the hidden math behind money, wealth, and the financial systems most people never question. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.